How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Lead Therapy, and thank you so very much for taking time for tuning into the video. I've made videos in the past about people being charged and convicted of selling machine gun conversion devices, also known as Glock switches. And most of the time, these guys have been caught with a handful of the Glock switches. And at the most, I think I did a story a couple of months ago about a guy who was caught with about 24 of them. But I hand it to this guy, he's a real overachiever. A Fort Worth, Texas man has been charged with manufacturing and selling thousands of Glock switches. A Fort Worth man who allegedly manufactured and sold thousands of machine gun conversion devices, which are small 3D printed gadgets that convert ordinary firearms into fully automatic machine guns, has been federally charged. Xavier Deshaun Watson was charged via criminal complaint with possession and transfer of machine guns. He was arrested without incident in a parking lot of his apartment complex and made his initial appearance before U.S. Magistrate Judge Jeffrey Cureton in Fort Worth. 3 additional conversion device sellers, Ayub Wali, who was 23 years old, Jose Correll Santillan, who's 19 years old, and Montevian Jones, who is 20, were charged earlier this year. Over the course of the investigation, ATF agents seized more than 650 conversion devices, also known as switches, installed in Glock-style pistols, or sears installed in semi-automatic rifles. According to court documents in early 2022, Fort Worth law enforcement noticed a surge in shootings involving conversion devices. Conversion devices turn legal firearms into machine guns, which are generally unlawful for non-licensed civilians. A pistol equipped with a conversion device can fire up to 1,200 rounds per minute, a faster rate of fire than a standard M4 machine gun issued to U.S. military service members. A standard 3D printer can produce about 100 plastic switches every 72 hours. Multiple criminal defendants identified Mr. Correll, a gang member, as a source of supply. Mr. Correll and his associate Mr. Jones led agents to Mr. Wally, who eventually identified Mr. Watson as the printer. According to court documents, in March of 2022, an undercover agent accompanied by a confidential informant who connected with Mr. Jones via Instagram purchased 10 machine gun conversion devices from Mr. Jones. The defendant used a juvenile dubbed Little Buddy to deliver the devices to the agent. The following month, the agent purchased 8 switches from Mr. Correll. The agent asked Mr. Correll if he printed the switches himself. He allegedly replied that he did not, but I got the guy that got the printer. The undercover agent then heard Mr. Correll place a call to a man he referred to as Whale, later identified as Mr. Wally. But Mr. Correll said the man was paranoid. Shortly thereafter, agents observed Mr. Correll meet up with Mr. Wally inside his car, then emerging with a bulging backpack under his sweatshirt. Mr. Wally and Mr. Correll were arrested on May 3rd. Mr. Jones was arrested on June 6th. Mr. Wally initially claimed he found the machine gun devices inside a vehicle he purchased. He later admitted the supplier was a man named Xavier, later identified as Mr. Watson. According to the complaint, an undercover ATF agent went on to purchase a total of 33 conversion devices and a 3D printed AR-15 style pistol from Mr. Watson, who bragged that he could produce over 400 switches a day on 2 3D printers set up in his living room. He used a tablet to load conversion device printing directions onto his printer. The agent met Mr. Watson at his home October 18th and October 26th. On both occasions, Mr. Watson assembled the conversion devices and showed the agent how to insert a conversion device into an AR-15 style firearm. On the second occasion, he showed the undercover agent the 3D printers and printed the switches while he waited. Mr. Watson acknowledged that he knew that some of his buyers were selling the switches and said that he had previously mailed devices to recipients by concealing them inside of children's toys. If convicted, Mr. Watson faces up to a decade in prison. Mr. Correll pleaded guilty on June 22nd to unlawful possession of machine guns and was sentenced on October 7th to 57 months in federal prison. Mr. Jones pleaded guilty to the same charge on August 24th and is set to be sentenced on December 13th. Mr. Wally pleaded guilty on November 16th and is set to be sentenced on January 18, 2023. You know, there's that old saying, go big or go home. This guy went big. He manufactured and sold thousands of Glock switches, and now his home is going to be a federal prison for an extremely long time. Do you guys think that these conversion devices, or so-called Glock switches, should be legal? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, please help the channel out by liking, sharing, and subscribing and hitting those post notifications. And I hope to see you guys in the next video.